on December 8th, 2025. We all got an agenda in our email, and you have it in front of you. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Okay.
Seconded?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. And we will go to item 3 on the agenda, review of certain budget items. And the first one is the recycling center and transfer station, 110. Let us get to that page first.
The two-page.
Check. Okay. 2,000. And after we talk about the recycling center and the transfer station, we're also going to go to capital. Yep.
To talk about the
Right.
new one.
Right.
Okay.
So you're probably going to want to talk about that project. That's the only capital item you're doing today, is doing that while you're here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does it help us to ask you specific questions, Chuck? Because there's
I think
couple
so.
things.
I can give you just a quick overview if you want.
Okay.
Thank
And you're going to introduce, I didn't introduce you, sorry.
No, I'm Chuck Piero. I'm the solid waste manager for the town of Harpswell. Really, the big changes, and there's really no huge changes, but this year we did enter into a 1-year extension with Pine Tree Waste Management, which it seems like every year it's basically a 5% increase. Seems to be the tack that they're following across the board. The only other real change on here is, let me just make sure. I've been slowly increasing the maintenance budget to try to take care of some building maintenance next door, and we had quite a problem with the new compactors last year, right around this time. They kept failing continually right through the Christmas holiday, which was really great.
Yeah.
But we managed to keep them running. With my knowledge, I kept it running as best as I could, but there was at least 6 times we had to call in Atlantic, and that adds up to about $2,500 every time they show up.
Wow.
So this year I'm planning on a major PM on that. Go through both compactors, new filters, fluids, the whole
A
nine.
major what?
Preventive maintenance PM.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're going to go through. They're out of warranty regardless. It's been 2 years since we did a major straight go through. So we want to make sure those things last their entire life cycle. So we're going to have them go ground up and do a pretty serious maintenance on it.
What specifically was the problem that you ran into last
It
year?
was a pressure switch issue and it ended up being with both compactors. The MSW compactor would go about 2 hours, overheat, fail, and there's a lot of it seems like it's a pretty smooth operation when you watch that ram go back and forth, but if you're underneath when they operate the ram, there's so much vibration down there, it's crazy. Everything is mounted on rubber and stuff. And where these pressure switches go into the tank area, they both had come loose. And it's a overly engineered, elaborate way that these switches hook into these tanks. So elaborate that I kept on going 2 weeks on 2 10-inch zip ties.
Oh, gee.
And it was when I looked at it, it was the simplest way to do it. It worked. So, but we've got that sorted out. It seems to be the rest of the year was okay. We do have a situation with the heaters that are there. They're plumbed into the 3-phase power. They need to be separated out of that electrical grid. And they're basically the 3-phase provides the power down. Then it's staggered down to the 110 that runs the heaters. But before they were on a separate loop altogether. So the problem we have right now is that we have to keep the 3-phase going 24 hours a day to keep the tanks warm enough to operate the hoppers. So we want to get that separated out so we're not running 3-phase all the time. But that's really the only 2 big parts. I can take any questions you have if there's something that stands out.
Just a quick question
Yep.
about, oh, I have 2 actually, if people don't mind. Full-time wages went down. Is that different employees or?
Yeah, we had a retirement last year. Greg King retired. He'd been there over 26 years. So
Oh, my, okay.
yeah, so with his retirement, bringing someone new as far as that.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the other, I was under repair and maintenance. You lease an oxygen tank. What's that for?
we have a small acetylene unit, oxyacetylene for cutting.
Okay.
It's basically, it's
I
basically,
probably shouldn't have asked this question.
it's basically a one-time purchase. You buy the tank is what it
Okay.
is. And then whenever you need to fill it, you go over and the town owns that tank.
Okay.
It's a very small setup.
So it's not a lease anymore.
It's no longer a lease. No, I switched
Okay.
over to a small one. I can take that verbiage out next year, yeah. No, we'll correct that.
I was just surprised. Oh, and-
No, I went to a purchase when I first started there. We buy the small tanks now. And
Okay.
we don't
And
use
is
it that
for
often. It doesn't
up
make
the-
sense.
Up the hill or?
Nope, right down below.
here?
Yep.
Okay.
You're doing repair work on some of the tractors. It comes in.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
So your tonnage estimate for waste and recycling is below the 3-year average.
Yep.
What's driving that?
We've been tapering
Go-
down steadily since the height of COVID, back to a more normal pitch on the tail end. I think
Okay.
after this year, we'll probably be pretty much stabilized. There was a major, I think it was about 300,000, 300. Yeah, it was 300 tons of waste differential up top this year. But that was, a lot of that was driven by the back-to-back storms in January and another one in April that we had there, which really drove up the tonnage at the transfer station. So these numbers this year, I think, look like more of a normal, stable year with no major storms, no major disasters or anything like that. So
And are you happy with the fees up top?
I think we can probably hold steady this time. We're currently we've got to be under what we actually are paying, which we always are anyways to a certain degree. After this year, we're going to be looking at probably another 3-year contract, minimum. And at that point, we'll have to really take a hard look at these fees. And my guess is at that point, there's probably going to be, we'll have to talk about some kind of a separation from sorted, unsorted. The trajectory is going to get so crazy, and we have no control over what we're paying across the scale. But at some point, we're going to have to see if we uncouple those rather than just doubling the fee, because it's going to get so astronomical that it's getting to the point where some people just aren't going to be going there, I think. There's already complaints about it to a certain degree, and we're not crazy.
That it's too much? The fees are?
The unsorted fee is, and that's mainly contractor-driven, and if you have people in town that are cleaning out properties and stuff, they'll just go behind the wall and dump everything. And then it takes one of our employees to go out, sort through. You've seen us up there, just sorting through the back of the wall and stuff. I consider it a recycling center top and bottom, so we make sure everything's sorted on the top just as well as, as best we can, of course, on the top as well, so.
Have you considered a camera to monitor that kind of activity?
It's pretty straightforward. We know if they go behind the wall, we can just take a quick peek. We know what's going on. There's no,
Okay.
I don't think we have to be that elaborate about it. The big thing is that it's just the fee itself. We basically, historically, it's just always been double. We're 175 now for if you come up for unsorted. If you bring a trail load of unsorted stuff, it's 350. We just double it.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm thinking when we get to this 3-year one, we may be at it even 2 and 4, moving forward through the 3-year contract,
Yeah.
depending on how far off we are this year. But I think one more year of staying where we are, but then we're going to need to see some kind of a fairly serious adjustment.
Yeah.
Make sure we're covering everything.
So I might have read this wrong, but recycling and waste are both 142 a ton?
No.
Okay.
Where do
I'm
we-
not sure where I got that.
Construction,
Recycling is
C and D
170.
up top, your demo, and MSW are both 140. Did I mess up something?
Probably not. I'm
Okay.
somehow must have confused recycling and waste.
Recycling is on a sliding scale.
Yep.
Everybody interprets it differently, including here sometimes. But basically, we're looking at just shy of $200 a ton on recycling, depending on if they can sell or move any of the product into the actual recycling market, and then that'll bring that number down. I planned on it being somewhere in the middle of what we did this year. They haven't changed that price on us going into into 26.
Yep.
So I kind of took the mean average, and that's what we're proposing for funding through that right now. There's a good chance it may be higher than that, though. It has been trending. Of course, now that we're on the backside of writing the budget, it's been trending up.
Yeah.
So
What are your thoughts about whether the recycling, what percentage of that actually turns into waste now? Do you know?
I'm going to get in trouble if I answer that question because we had we had a large contingency go up to the factory, the processing plant, and watch the whole procedure. And of course, everything's put forward as we recycle it, and they are. They're taking all the product we send them, they're sorting it, they're packaging it for repurposing. What happens to it after that, I can't tell you. The only thing I have to gauge that by is our numbers.
Yeah.
If our recycling number is going up, then they're not moving product for the right purposes.
And-
I'll leave it at that.
And in the past, I forgot my question exactly. We also got charged based on how good our recycling materials were. Like, if people threw stuff in there that shouldn't be recycled.
We can technically be fined if there was something in there. Generally speaking, Linda, our recycling, their estimate puts us at about 5% contamination,
Okay,
which is extremely low.
okay.
We have pretty diligent workforce up there watching
Right.
What's going in, answering questions, aiming in the
Right.
right place, scolding when you don't. But we, I think we do a pretty good job. And my complaint, and I hope this makes sense, make sure I can say it correctly, but if Harpswell has 5% contamination and then town B has 30% and town C has 25%, when all of this recycling goes to West Bath and gets mixed together, it's Harpswell that's bringing their numbers down and making them look better overall, the mix as far as that. The problem I have with that is that if we're doing that good of a job, why are we paying the same amount
Right.
as
Right.
towns A, B, as everybody else?
Yeah.
So I think it used to be that when you had a set price on recycling, Pine Tree and Casella, their parent company, would look at you and say, they could look at that number and say, this is what we're going to do for you, as far as recycling. When they adopted this ACR formula, it's a blanket formula for everybody that signs a contract with them. So there's no advantage, unfortunately,
good, yeah.
for us to be as good as we are. We're going to continue to be as good as we are because we're good girls and boys up there. We're going to do the right thing. But I have a problem with that if we're doing something to a certain standard and others aren't. But we're, here, does it make sense what I'm trying to say?
Yep.
What's their response?
I've talked about it a little bit, but I mean, it's a giant corporation. They don't care what Chuck Pirro has to say, to be
There's
honest.
not a lot of competition.
There's no
either.
competition.
So-
They can
I
do
know.
what they want.
So let's put it this way, if we had signed the 3-year contract with Waste Management last time, Waste Management will truck our recycling directly to Casella's operation, and they charge us an extra $50 per ton to transport it to them. So we would still be on the Casella ACR regardless of who we signed with.
Yep.
There's other places, EcoMaine, has their own systems as far as that. But there's very few options. Almost everybody in the main scheme of things takes everything to these 2 MRFs that Casella has, so. It's limited.
Do you have any questions?
No, I think he answered them
And,
early.
and Matt, any questions?
No.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Actually,
That's great.
one quick one, Chuck.
Sure.
Was that the what'd you call them there? The crushers there, the compactors
Compact.
going. Was that the reason for the over expenditure and the repair and
Oh,
maintenance?
yeah.
That's-
I mean, we had them there, I think, 7 times last year. Each one was roughly $2,500.
So the
I wasn't-
extra is the idea to get them fixed right the first time,
Yeah.
not after.
I wasn't planning on them being there once, when they were there 7 times, so.
All right, that makes sense.
And you don't have any choice, you have to get them fixed.
Yeah, because you can't operate without them.
Right.
I had to postpone other things because of it, because,
Yeah.
so this year I made sure to bump it up so I can correct the backlog that we have from not being able to do everything this year.
Yeah.
Plus, I
Perfect.
want to get a PM done on them, so,
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yep.
Good planning.
yep.
Okay, so then we had the transfer station, but I think you've answered that.
Transfer station's pretty straightforward. The wood, the demo wood has remained fairly steady over the last 3 cycles. We did have a pretty serious bump after the storm season. We were able to, where it's older PT, where we were able to get some of that processed through the grinding situation rather than having to truck it. And wood grinding remains the most economical way of doing this. Last year, I think we was at $64 or $66 per ton, and that includes them coming on site, grinding the materials, loading it, and trucking it. $66 a ton for everything. Disposal, the whole 9 yards. You can't beat that. So
Where do they take it?
They were taking it to, not Juniper Ridge, the other one, Norwalk. They use it on the far end as cover for the landfill. They use it as layers as far as that. And then the brush last year went to Embark in Auburn, and that could go anywhere to the Midwest or to Canada. Canada's a really popular place. Canada still uses all that stuff for biomass. They do a lot of biomass up there still with all that. Yeah.
So, okay, which one of these is the brush on here? Because it says demo waste and then.
So,
Demo
Linda,
wood
if you look down to where it says demo wood grinding, brush is included in that.
It's
in
in
that
that,
line. Yep. When
okay.
they come up with a grinder, they do
They do
the
both.
brush pile and the demo wood pile.
But they're separated.
They're separated because they're two different commodities,
Yep,
basically,
of
once
course.
they're ground.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
But again,
think we're
that's
good
about the
there.
best deal on the whole budget, really, when you look at disposal. For the amount of tonnage they move, it's crazy how inexpensive it is for the town. It really works out well.
Good,
Yep.
good. One good thing.
One good thing.
Okay, so we're going to go to capital reserves and the recycling center there, which is 9,200, I believe.
Yes.
No, yes. Well, we have
That
Chuck
sheet?
here.
No, you're
Okay.
good.
So the current level in that is $916,000. And this year, they're proposing putting another $300,000 in there to bring us around 1.2. The building is still in flux. We have a work group put together trying to decide the fate of the building. The first part of that has been basically determined to just replace it as a whole, not try to piecemeal it together and work around obstacles and stuff. By the time you figure in the demo cost to try to maintain some of it as salvageable or reusable, it just isn't going to be economically feasible. And the last time we had a meeting with the engineer, it was basically a stalemate as far as price. You're almost neck and neck. When we originally started looking at replacing the building, I think it was like a 40% difference or a 30% difference to try to, save what we had rather than just replace the whole thing. That's done a complete 180 and just caught up, basically, is what it is. It's just whatever's driving construction and that type of thing just
Okay.
has made quite a difference. The only other thing I will say as far as the reserve fund is that, and I know it's in the future still, but I like to say stuff like this because it gets you thinking a little bit, but in '28, we will need to be replacing the backhoe. That'll be scheduled for replacement in 2028. So the reserve fund needs to accommodate a backhoe replacement and the building replacement at some point.
So what, do we have a final cost for
No.
the rebuild?
No.
No.
Well, we had one.
We
Yeah, but
had
that's-
one, it was a lot lower and was supposed to happen.
Oh,
this-
we had one that was fairly high.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
and
la-
then you
the
had,
last one was-
and then you had a new one, yes.
The last one was pretty eye-opening as far as, it's like the engineering kind of caught up finally with everything that we had been asking for. And then the last version of it we had finally had everything on there priced out that we had asked for. There was some omissions in the past. So we're working off not a complete accounting of it all.
And the number was like 1.5 to 1.7.
Yeah.
But Chuck, isn't there some perhaps good news, is at least your work group is tossing around some much lower numbers for a new building?
I think replacing the whole building is going to be quite a bit lower than what any of the estimates have been. And it really
Okay.
depends on what we aim the building towards as uses in the future as to what that price will come in at. So
Okay.
it's still kind of in flux as far as that.
But that working group is working on coming up with a cost estimate, looking at various options that might be included in this new building.
We're looking on coming up with recommendations
Yeah.
that we can get cost
Yeah.
estimates on, I
Yeah.
should say, I clarify
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
Yeah.
Right. And originally, well, it seemed like it was just a year ago, we were talking about it happening now, but it now looks like it's 2 years out. Is that?
27 at the earliest,
Yep. Okay.
spring or fall. I would prefer fall.
Right.
Get through the busy season, and then we're going to lose half the parking lot and all that. It's easier to try to accommodate it through a fall-winter season.
Right.
I know nobody wants to
Fewer
work in the winter,
people.
but they do it.
Yeah.
They'll be able to do it. That would be my planning anyways.
So we'll hear more next year.
Yeah, it's in flux. Like I said, it's ever-changing, it seems like.
What's the basis for your optimism in thinking that it might be significantly less to replace the building?
Well, just looking at, there's been a couple of large buildings built in town that are similar to what we would be looking at, and the new buildings in town meet code, minimal code. I think we're out of code in a couple of different areas on the building we currently have. I think one of the bigger expenditures is going to be the electrical. We need to have the entire electrical system rehauled in the building. Now with a new building, it'll be a completely new electrical system regardless. It was going to be either way.
Yeah.
But I also think that number is too high on their estimation also. My estimation is working against their computer program. And their computer program is coming up with stuff that I can't wrap my head around, to be honest with you. And it just feels like we're running a 20 to 25% premium over what reality is, if I had to put a guesstimate on it. And I'm no engineer.
Do you have a deadline for this
I don't know.
recommendation?
There's been so many come and go.
There's a mission statement, and
Yeah.
it has, kind of a recommendation. I think you're going to be on maybe the select board agenda next week to give a progress report on
Okay.
where they're at, and then they have more time in 2026 to develop their recommendations, and so we can get some cost estimates on what they're recommending. And we hope to have that before next budget season.
And that means you could start in the fall, that fall?
Well, that would
27.
In 27, I
27,
think,
yeah.
is
2 years away.
27 is the most optimistic
Yeah.
outlook, I think, at some point in 27.
And are you looking at it as a sort of life cycle cost comparison? Meaning if you replace the building, maybe ongoing operating costs are somewhat less than it would be renovating, which would augur more in favor of a new building?
I think the work group, we basically were charged with two things. Do we continue down the reno path, or do we just bite the bullet and replace it? And the first meeting was held in the building. And that was the best thing I could have done.
Late November, yeah.
And, and I had to break it through 3 different sessions. There was people that couldn't make the initial meeting. And it was funny to see the reactions from the 3 different groups that I put through the building. And then when they all came together at the meeting, everybody's on the same page. It was pretty straightforward. And if the numbers come in the way we think they're going to, the thing is that you're essentially looking at buying a pre-engineered erector set. You give them the specs that you want. The companies, multiple companies, will take what you want. If you want to eliminate a door, add a door, whatever you want to do. And all the pre-engineering to the building is done the minute it arrives on your site. The only thing I need to look for after that is an electrical, schematic for the building, any plumbing upgrades you're going to do. We have to do the drainage in the slab area regardless of what we do. That was one of the things that was kind of left out for multiple engineering cycles and then showed up at the end, and it's still technically not in the last one. So,
And Chrissy, you just said they're going to report to the selectmen next week? Okay.
Well, I think
Or
just preliminary.
Not the preliminary.
I'll give a preliminary
From the
update.
task force,
Yeah.
right?
the first part has basically been, we took a vote and I'm moving forward with recommending that the building just be replaced at this point. The foundation is solid and sound. We know what needs to be done underground now. We had everything CCTV'd, so we know where the pipes are, where they're not, where they're supposed to be. So we know what we have to do to separate systems now, get the proper drainage in there, all that type of a thing. So basically, the foundation is, whoever built it like a bomb shelter. It's 14 inches thick in some places, 16 in others. It's crazy how big this foundation
Good
is.
grief.
So it would cost more money at this point if some reason, I don't feel we need a smaller building regardless. But if you were to ever to do that, the amount of work it would take to recalibrate that foundation to a smaller building would offset any cost you ever had by adding the square footage. It wouldn't be beneficial at all. It'd be a detriment, in my opinion.
So using that footprint is something.
The footprint is a big driver on cost. The building is sized well to what we currently do as far as that. If we would choose to expand, one of the things we were looking at doing was, if we were to take the profile of the building and just expand it out and use the loading dock area, but just enclose it to make it like a separate warehouse area. But that, again, goes down a certain path of what does the town see in the future, 5-10 years down the road, of this building being used for? What kind of integration can happen to make this a more usable property, a more usable area? And that's all stuff that right now, the current, I don't know if we're gonna have an answer to that second part. We're looking for some guidance on that. The work group wants guidance for that. I don't feel it's my place to sit in that work group and guide them to what Chuck's vision for town of Harpswell is. I can tell them what I think as the manager and where I think the town should go, but I'm not in a position to say A, B, C, D as far as that.
They
We had-
could present options, though. I
can-
mean,
we
they're
can-
asked to look
right.
at options, and they can present.
I think
various
they're
options.
hesitant to do that without knowing if some of the options are even on the board.
So I think your preliminary report next week will
Okay.
move that.
Get some feedback, that's fair.
Will that be a written report that we could see online maybe? Or you
It
just?
sounds like it might be. This is the first I'm hearing.
You know about that, huh?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
you have a member of the Budget Committee on that working group.
Mackin's
It's
on it.
I know
Mackin's
Mackin's on it. I
Yeah.
just was
Oh.
thinking if something we could read. I like to read.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more verbal.
It'll be verbal, okay.
Pretty straightforward, yeah. And
All right.
Kevin, if Kevin's here in the meeting, he's the liaison, the select board liaison too, so. I'm sure he'll have things to chime in. You know, he has all the meetings and it's,
Okay, all right, well, are we good with this?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
And I'm-
any other
Thank
questions? You
you.
guys have a small group today. This is odd.
We
Yeah,
lost a
it's
couple people
Yeah,
today.
everybody's traveling.
I know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sounds like that project is in good hands.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see.
Okay, thank you, Chuck.
Thanks.
And we're going to go now to cemeteries, 12:30. We did discuss,
We had something left.
we discussed Orr's Island and Cranberry Horn Hill last week. But we had the others we did not get to.
Can I ask just a couple of questions about that
About
discussion?
which?
In
Oh.
particular, Orr's Island.
Okay,
If under definitions, you have public burying ground, and describes that as a cemetery in which any person may be buried without regard to religious or other affiliation. So Orr's Island presumably does not qualify as a public burying ground because it has a geographic affiliation as a requirement for burial.
right, and that's a good question. And I recall, yes, they have that requirement.
Was it
Hillcrest has that requirement. You need an affiliation with that cemetery or the Kellogg Church. I do not recall if West Harpswell has that, but they're not as public, this is my opinion now, as public as we might think, because, but they're not,
Yeah, it does meet the definition of public burying ground.
But they said that they,
It's not open to every member of the public, but it does meet this definition.
Well, it says, or it may be
Or
buried
other
without regard to
affiliation.
other
So
affiliation.
you think residency is the other affiliation?
absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
what they've
Yeah.
said.
yes,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
said only Orr's Island.
And I just ask that as a technical question
Yeah.
because it obviates, if that's the case, it obviates the explicit requirement to fund certain grave sites. Right?
Yeah, I don't know that I know what other affiliation means, but I'm willing to explore that.
Not,
It would be a good question, because
Because-
I was under the impression when we started cemeteries that that meant, you know, that anyone could ask to
Yeah.
be buried there. But it's been explained over the years that by them and others that you needed to be a resident of that area or affiliated with that area.
yeah, we were told that, I asked that explicit question at that meeting and he said, nope, you have to be either a resident of Orr's or you have to have some sort of legacy, strong legacy affiliation with Orr's.
Well, for instance, I think Bailey Island might be full. I could be wrong, but,
I thought Orr's was, they said they'd have to expand to that other area.
If they were going to
to open up
provide
to
to
more,
anybody in the public.
yeah.
Outside of Orr's, then they would
Right,
need.
they would have to
Okay,
expand.
right.
But I think I asked them that they felt they were good for now with Orr's residents. And did he say also that they would include Bailey Island? I don't recall.
I don't think he did, but
I didn't remember it Bailey's.
anyway, I'm not going anywhere with that. I'm just asking that as a clarification so that we know what the guardrails with respect to our discussions are. In particular, the veterans requirement
Right.
as it relates to a public burial ground and the municipal obligation. And I'm not suggesting that we pull, the veteran funding because of that, but I just want to know the rules, because everybody, every time this discussion comes up, they assert that.
They did say that, though, didn't they, that if you were a veteran, you didn't have to be from Oars Island?
They might have said that.
I think you could be, am I
They might
remembering
have.
that? Does anybody else remember them
They
saying
might
something
have
like
said
that?
that.
I
I'm
can't
not-
remember
I'd have
that.
to go
I
back.
don't remember, but
I thought there was
again,
a
as
weird-
it's stated here in the definitions, and this isn't meant to be, I think, any legal text, but if a literal reading of this would at least suggest that it doesn't meet the qualification for for grave sites of, the town's obligation for maintaining grave sites of veterans. That's all, because it's not a public burying ground according to this definition. And again, I'm just looking
No,
for
and
clarification,
as I
not an
said- right,
assertion of
no,
anything.
I hear you, and I do remember that from Hillcrest, and I don't remember what West Harpswell, what we have, I'm not sure West Harpswell's ever been in here to talk to us. And did Cranberry Horn Hills say anything to us? Other years?
I thought Cranberry it was open to people.
We'd have to look at, I think we asked the question on our form.
In their form?
Yeah,
And
it
so I
says-
don't recall what the answer is off the top
Okay.
of my
I
head.
think in the past, when the cemeteries first started being reviewed, that was seen as a little flexible because of the point that Chuck Alexander made while he was here at the end of the historical, because the contribution to the town is keeping that going and not having to be taken over by the town. So it was a good way to come up with Linda was here in the beginning when the cemeteries first came. It was determined to be, at the time, it started in 2018 at $10 per grave, to come up with some sort of systematic approach to tie it to the veterans, with some flexibility in that area so that these cemeteries could continue on and not have to be taken over by the town.
I'm looking at Bailey Island, and we asked the question on every form, is the availability of your cemetery to all Harpswell residents? And the Bailey Island one says no. Bailey Island natives and their heirs, special consideration given to long-term residents who have been active members of the community. Cemetery ROI sales is now cremation only. So we've specifically supported them on the veterans care piece. And I believe that's the same with Oars Island. It's been on the veterans care piece that we have supported them.
Right.
Cranberry Horn has asked for this additional assistance for maintenance items. And I don't know what the answer is on theirs to that question.
As has Oars, right? Because only 50% of the Oars request is generated by veterans' graves,
Of their mowing budget, you're talking, or?
of their request of the town. So if you just take the veterans' graves times the, whatever it is, 25% per grave, it equals about 50% of their request. The other 50
Is extra as
Is
well,
extra,
because
yeah.
they came to us a few years ago without having the ability to maintain.
Yeah.
And in fact, I don't remember which year it was, but at first it was also to do some major cleanup there, because it had not been maintained.
Yeah.
Now, Cranberry Horn says yes. Is the availability of your cemetery to all Harpswell residents?
Yeah.
Yes.
right.
Okay,
That's what I,
okay, but Oars says no. I just found that.
Hillcrest says
so,
our cemetery is available to all Harpswell residents and families associated with the Elijah Kellogg Church. That's what they say.
Right,
so it's
right.
also
Yeah, so again, you have to be affiliated with the
Faith,
church.
right,
yeah.
right, that part I knew.
Again,
And-
I'm not going
right.
anywhere with this. It's
Right.
just the,
But it's not, I hear what you're saying, and I had always thought, the first few years we were doing this, that public meant public.
Yeah, me
And
too.
then it was a year or two ago that they mentioned, oh, no, you need to be an Oars Island resident.
Yep.
And I see for West Harpswell, they've said it's yes, that they're
Correct.
available. It's not a very big cemetery, but they're available.
Well, I apologize for the digression.
No,
No,
well,
I
it's an
think-
interesting point.
It is.
It's an interesting point too, because the requests are different, so.
Oh, okay, back to the beginning.
Okay.
All right, so we didn't get to, I believe, Hillcrest,
Did we hear from Hillcrest? Yeah.
no. Although he slightly said something because he's responsible for that cemetery too, Chuck Alexander. But I see, it looks like they're just asking
100% for
for
vets.
veterans, right?
Yeah.
West Harpswell is just for
And I will look up the statute, because I do recall that the Maine was very concerned about wanting to make sure public funds could be used to keep veterans' graves cared for.
Maintained.
So the statute, I think, was opened up a bit so that it could be used to care for veterans' graves, which is kind of why we've approached it this way.
Okay.
So I can get more specific information on that if that gives you a
But-
comfort level.
Right, and you also have, there's the ancient burying grounds, which we have not done, except if,
We've done that for Cranberry Horn like maybe 20 years ago. They asked for some money for the ancient burying grounds
this
for
is
this.
before my time. then.
Yes, I
Okay.
think so.
Because I don't remember that.
Yeah,
Okay, but you also.
rarely, but we
Right,
have
it's
done it.
rarely come up, and there was something, was it on Dunning Road, Old Dunning Road? that
Yeah,
Yes,
we did
Yes.
We did that, because
Yes,
that was an ancient.
we did. Yeah,
And there are a few, I know there's one behind my house, but.
yeah. So if somebody has a cemetery on their private parcel, they are responsible under the law to kind of care for the cemeteries. And if they are unable to, municipalities have a process for being able to take over the responsibility.
But
But-
Hillcrest and West Harpswell are just, you take that veterans allocation times the number of vets, that's all they're asking for.
That's all they're
Correct,
asking for, and West
correct.
Harpswell, the same
Yeah.
thing. And Bailey Island, it looks like the same thing.
Yes,
Yep,
Oh, wait a minute.
that's right.
yes, all of them except for Oars, yeah.
And Cranberry Horn.
Okay, please remind me what the SB 2700
Should be.
means. Oh, thank you. Should be, oh, they're saying
Yeah, it
we
was just a
didn't, we
mistake.
didn't
I
give
think
them the
it-
right amount
yeah.
last year, okay.
No, she submitted her request at 2,600. I changed it to 2,700.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay. All right. But we're not deliberating on these
No,
right
we're
now.
not.
But do we have any questions for the other three that we did not discuss last week?
I don't,
Wait a minute, we just,
Hillcrest, West Harpswell, and Bailey Island.
oh, we didn't discuss Bailey, okay. No, they're all,
Right.
yes, oh,
Right, I think we had said we were interested in Cranberry Horn coming and Oars Island because
They're asking
they
more.
were asking for additional funds.
yeah.
Okay, I'm seeing no questions. Matt, any questions?
Yeah, just where it says plus other costs, like,
Where-
what
where are
is
you
that?
So that is like the example up on the mountain road. We ended
Oh,
up,
okay,
so it's for if somebody comes forward and we had to clean the stones and we had to.
yeah.
okay, yep, that makes sense.
Right.
So why do we think it's cut in half?
I keep
Because we've
cutting it
already-
down because we
we've-
haven't had anybody come forward,
Oh,
so I
so we
just,
don't ever really use it?
so I just, we used it the one time.
A
Just
few
once.
years ago, yeah. we
Oh,
used
okay.
it, Yeah.
I was just wondering, I didn't know where it went, so.
And if somebody comes forward, there
question.
may be sufficient time for budgeting for that.
Yeah,
And so,
I just didn't see it anywhere else,
Yeah.
so I was just curious to where the funds were going, that was all.
Okay. Good question.
Good.
Okay, so we're done with cemeteries. Move on to road maintenance, which is 2,200. I'm having trouble getting there.
We did not invite the road commissioner, or the budget committee did not ask for the road commissioner, so really.
It looks pretty
see this-
straightforward.
Yeah,
Here.
very
Yeah.
No
similar,
big deal, right,
similar to the prior year.
Right, right.
even a little bit.
Okay.
That's good.
We're good with that?
Yep.
All right, we'll move on to 3,100, the law enforcement. And we do, we get 3 deputies, contract for 3 deputies who are completely law enforcement.
Yes, dedicated to the town of Harpswell. So a lot of the costs are part of the personnel compensation and benefits package for these 3 employees. There is a 3% contract supervision piece, and we have tried to negotiate that out. Every once in a while that comes up, and they say, no, we have to do certain things, and you're going to have to, pay for that supervision aspect.
Is it 3% of the cost of those 3, or?
I believe it is.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, you have some uniforms, you have, vehicle, fuel, maintenance, and then you see, we also purchase vehicles under this contract, but the funding for the vehicles is taken from a capital reserve account.
So essentially, we have saved up for that money.
Yes,
To buy
yes.
that vehicle. Okay.
The vehicles have gotten more expensive over the years, the fit-up costs have gotten more expensive.
And they have a requirement over a certain number of miles they need to be replaced?
Yes, they do.
Right.
Off
I've
the top of
forgotten
my,
what that is,
I think
too.
it's about 120,000 off the top of my head,
That's what
in
I was gonna
in that
guess
range.
also.
So they have a COLA in here of 5%. The SSI 25 number is 2.5%. So this number is literally 200% of the SSI, which is the national benchmark for urban wage earners. And in 2026,
This may be
that's
something.
2.8%.
Yeah, they're in a union, it may be something that's already been negotiated in a union.
When the budget was dropped off, I will tell you that when you were out and Mr. Carey came by, retention is an issue at Cumberland County, and he said, the majority of the increase in our contract is the labor charges. They had been underpaying compared to Portland, all around them, and so they would get some new deputies, put them through the police academy, and then another municipality took them away. So we lost one of our, we do say we have 3 regular deputies, but we actually have only had 2 for only a couple of years. The 3rd one is being filled by fill-ins all along because they are so understaffed and retention has been an issue. And in order to go forward, they had to increase their rates. And that, he made that very clear, that you're seeing that as the increase, and that's the way it is. Was the bottom line.
that's a keep your eye on it kind of number, though, because that number is just disproportionate to what you're seeing across the United States. I mean, the entire U.S. government uses the 2.8%.
In law enforcement contracts? I
For
don't know.
COLA, and
I
urban wage earners, private corporations, including that, it's a benchmark for, it's not a required benchmark for government, for municipal employees, but it's the benchmark that most people use. So I'm not arguing that the 5% isn't somehow reasonable. What I'm saying is if it continues at 5%,
Right.
that's a big number.
And it's.
But he also-
Sounds like it's more than a COLA.
I was going to say, perhaps
It's
he
an
shouldn't have called it a COLA, because I agree with what you're saying about the standard of the COLA, but his point was very much so that they had to make some adjustments to try to just keep some people.
Right.
Well, see, they did make an adjustment to wages.
The 2.
2%. And if what we're hearing is, in fact, accurate, I don't think it matters in the end, honestly, which bucket you put it in, but it sounds like more of that belongs in the wage increase bucket than belongs in the COLA bucket.
I think that's what's going to happen when we get the results back from our own wage and salary review of this market, that
Yeah.
we're probably going to look low compared to some other communities. So we have to look at how,
But you have the joy of working in Harpswell.
well, of course we do.
Absolutely.
That's a non-monetary factor. I totally agree with that.
Sorry.
But,
We should
but
get to
there is
charge
this
them.
attempt by a lot of organizations to try to bring some of these main salary levels up in various areas. So we ourselves will be looking at that.
Your budget committee member Mackin has his hand raised.
Oh,
Oh, he's there.
I don't, where's the hand? I don't see it. Oh, there, I see the hand.
It's right there.
Oh, hey.
Okay, Mackin, do you want to speak to us?
Mackin, would you like to speak?
He's gonna.
Are you muted,
Where do
Mackin?
you see it?
It's up there in the left corner.
Oh, we're
okay.
muted.
It's a virtual hand.
We're not hearing you, Mackin.
It shows muted, that's muted.
In order for it to go through it's very confusing, I know it is, everybody wants to have that not be muted, but it actually has to be
Okay.
for it to go through the video filming. I don't know how long Mackin has had his hand up because I was showing the sheets, and so perhaps he's, Mackin, if you come back and hear us and want to speak, by all means. I can't necessarily see the sheets, so feel free to unmute and ask the chairman to speak. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I guess we aren't getting Mackin for now. Okay, so we don't have a lot of control over this,
Right. Absolutely.
fortunately.
There is one typo in there where it says under compensation time, in the center of the page, it says average 60.62. I believe that should be 606.21. That's a daily number. If you take the 29, divide it by the 48.
Okay.
Again, not that it changes anybody's view of
Okay.
anything.
Okay. So then we go to the shellfish operations, or sorry, shellfish are
9 and 3.
deputies who primarily their job is shellfish, but they, what is the percentage, please remind me, of their time that we think they're also doing fill-in for our,
I don't know that I have that
You don't know?
statistically.
Okay.
It varies day to day depending upon if they're asked to help
Okay.
in any type of situation.
How many shellfish, what's the range of shellfish and how many licenses are there?
So Linda ask
I
that.
have it right here because I asked for it.
All right.
Okay, there we go.
It's too bad, because I asked for it, and I should have asked maybe that the committee get it. But
I was happy to report it, but if
Okay.
they want their own copies, I can do that.
maybe for, yeah, okay, so we have 49 residents who are doing this for a living. And their license is $300,
Okay.
which I have calculated to $14,700.
Okay.
And you may remember, by the way, that we went through fees 2 years ago?
Yes,
Yep.
it wasn't long ago.
It wasn't too long ago. And we have 6 non-residents who are doing this commercially, and their fee is $450 per license, and that's $2,700.
Okay.
We have a senior resident who also, they get a discount on their fees, and there are 7 of those, and that's $1,050. We have one senior non-residents, and their fee is $225, so that's just another $225. We have student or junior resident, there are 10 of those, and they pay $150 per license, and that's $1,500, of course. And a student non-resident, one of those pays $225. Then there's some smaller amounts for recreational, which are very minimal.
And this includes what? Meaning mussels, clams, quahogs, oysters, urchins?
Oh, this was.
Urchins, no.
No
They're
urchins.
not really.
We did get that last week, those numbers.
But that's the range of, I'm just asking that.
Not much
Background.
aquaculture.
Yeah,
No,
no
that- they don't- that's
aquaculture
a
really,
state-
unless
Okay.
it's, right.
State issue, yeah.
It's, okay, so we had a sheet last week that had European oysters and American oysters. Those are not coming from aquaculture.
I think they're the wild caught that maybe they,
Wild.
Yeah, those are
some,
ones that
yeah.
are dragged
Yeah.
for.
Okay.
But those numbers that I just read to you
Yeah.
total $20,400. And I think I know where you're going with this.
Yes.
It's a lot of money to
It's
spend.
$6,000 per resident license. Now, I'm not going anywhere with it at all, but it's just a big number for relatively, and very important, but small set of activities.
they do water quality testing throughout the town, which is a benefit. And they also do provide these law enforcement services. They're all deputized. I will say, under this contract, we do not pay the compensation time. You'll see, we only fill in for 10 vacation days. Otherwise, we're not treating it the same way as we do the general law enforcement contract, where we need to have those spots filled. As Terry said, we actually have a fill-in in that contract, but the Marine wardens have stayed in this position. However, if one of them happens to be out for one of these reasons, we don't necessarily back out that position.
And the reason for the almost 20% increase in contracted services is presumably that we haven't increased it for a couple of years, so we're playing catch up.
Which number are you looking at right now?
So I'm looking at account 1007, contracted services, 18.6%.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the
18%
contract.
increase.
Again, there was the labor increase. You see the detail on the back.
Yep. Why such a significant increase?
Is that what he reported to you?
What we
when he
don't
came
have
in?
here is last year.
Last year, we can
Compare it.
compare it to last year if you'd like to see.
That might be useful. One thing I noticed on this, which I was surprised, because you were talking about the COLA at 5%, is the health insurance for two people. $70,000.
Yeah, that's
That-
more than,
That's
The-
huge.
yeah, the three people, well, if you look back
Right,
at the,
we're
was
only
82
80-some,
or
yeah,
something,
yeah.
yeah.
I think it depends if they take family
But
or
even
single.
for,
Still, that's-
even for family.
And this is a union, you must remember. So these are fixed costs. I don't know that they're negotiable, but we can ask.
No, but they probably aren't. I mean, it's probably part of their
I've heard
contract.
that they have excellent, excellent benefit.
They must.
Yeah, one would hope.
Because basically, we're
Feels
talking
like gold-plated.
35,000 for each of these. It's a lot.
They may cover more than the town because our family rate is just under $40,000 for a year, but we cover 20% of the single portion of that and 65% of the family. They must cover greater percentages.
$40,000 for a family in this,
The total cost between the town and the employee.
For 1
Right,
year.
for
So they're-
one.
So they may be covering
And that-
close to 100% of two family plans, is I think the point Terry's
I
making.
get it. No, I understand that. It's just more than I would miss that meeting.
I must have missed it, too.
Are you getting that through Maine Municipal? Wow.
Yeah, that is a wow.
But
My own
in
experience
Harpswell,
with-
this is another piece we're looking at with our study. For family plans in the town of Harpswell, we have the employee pick up a much larger share than many of these
20%,
other
you said,
organizations.
right?
20 of the single and 35 of the family additional costs.
Yeah.
Right. I get it.
So I think the
No, get
school
it completely.
district covers a lot more family.
They do,
health
but I don't
premium than
remember
we
it
do
being
here.
40,000, but it's been a couple years.
Yeah.
It was in the
These
20,
rates are
21, 22.
are
Big
rising
numbers.
rapidly.
That's a bigger pool, maybe. I don't know. It just surprised me when I saw that.
But with the context, I hope you understand that that's probably
It
not.
could be 100%.
It could be,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's,
Or it could be 90 for two family plans.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Are
Right,
there
we don't
alternatives to
know.
the way we?
Pardon?
Are there alternatives to any alternatives to the way that we purchase these services? Or is this literally the most economic?
Maine Municipal Health Trust has,
Oh, no, I'm not talking about health in particular.
Oh,
I'm talking
you're talking
about
Law enforcement.
law
I mean,
enforcement
it's
generally.
difficult.
The Marine wardens do quite a bit too. I mean, they're on site for the conservation days. They do all of, like they said, all of our water testing as well. I think,
I think it's shocking, and this is my opinion, that we have such a small number of
Yeah, fish.
shellfish-type harvesters, and this is.
A big
we-
budget.
A big budget,
It is huge for that.
yeah. But we also know that the water testing is a benefit to the whole town, and the fact that they are checking the water so that the clams or whatever they're harvesting are not tainted. So
And
that's
the-
a service.
That was
the only really other body that I could think of off the top of my head that could provide the same type of service would be DMR, the Maine Department of Marine Resources, with wardens.
Yeah.
And we haven't had a warden in Cundy's Harbor forever. They can't hire one. There's no,
Ah.
for the same reason that Cumberland County, they'll have them for a month or two, but there's a requirement for them to live so close to the area they patrol, and the wage that they're paid doesn't allow them to afford housing within that area. So usually they take the job for, it's like a stepping stone to another law enforcement department somewhere. So they're kind of running into the same problem, and I know both of these deputies have been here for a few years, haven't they?
I'm confused about what you say. Cundy's Harbor has its own warden?
Well, I say like
For state,
that part of Harpswell has its own Marine Patrol warden. They have areas that they're supposed to cover, and they cover Cundy's Harbor,
at
the
the
New
state
Meadows
level,
River.
he's talking
Oh,
about
at
the
the
state level, they have
a DMR.
territories.
Right, and
Yeah.
they cover Cundy's Harbor and part of Great Island and Phippsburg as well.
Okay.
So then, like, West Harpswell has is
Right,
part
but
of
it's not the
Freeport.
same, right.
Right.
But they're not doing the
They're
same?
not duplicating anything.
No, they have different powers and authority under
Right.
state government.
They're doing more testing, I think.
Well, they have power in the lobstering industry to.
And they do in the clam
and
industry
and
as well.
To some degree,
Yeah.
yeah. And aquaculture,
Oh,
they
they're
have
doing
different areas.
aquaculture.
Yeah.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
Does that include, the shellfish thing include scallop licenses?
No,
No, okay.
no, those are a drag license. It's mostly your clams,
It's access
mussels.
shore.
Yeah, think of it as shore access. That's the best way to think of it.
Right, right.
I mean, a lot of them do use
We
boat.
did get a piece
places.
of information about this last week.
I'm assuming that,
I just don't. To kind of the long answer to your question is, I don't think there is a better
I think
or
maybe,
more
yeah,
inexpensive.
what he was getting at, though, is kind of for law enforcement, period.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of stuck
no, it's.
with this.
So this is kind of back to, I
Right.
think we're like a
Are we
recording here.
deliberating too much?
No,
Oh,
but I think it's I was just going to say, I think it's the same issue, like towns that have had their own law enforcement departments, they're having trouble finding a chief, finding people to work there. A lot of these people are gravitating more towards county services, similar to what Harpswell
We
has
have
done.
heard about that.
Where, there's an economy of scale for the county to kind of organize and run this kind of operation. And all of these people, including the shellfish wardens, they have to have specific training at the Criminal Justice Academy to carry a weapon and to perform certain responsibilities. So Harpswell, in its past history, had some Marine wardens who were direct employees of the town. But then the requirements for all the training, use of force, insurance coverage, we decided the county was offering us a better way to provide this kind of service in Harpswell without the risk and liability that would be created if we tried to do it ourselves. So it's
Yeah.
kind of long-winded, I'm sorry.
No.
That's perfect, because I suspect.
We've looked at it,
The
is
only
what I'm
worse
saying.
alternative is to do it yourself.
No, and I
right?
think
Right.
thinking about options is a good idea. From 2 to 1, that has come up in
Yeah,
some of
2
these
to 1.
prior year deliberations.
Yeah.
It's
so-
always defeated. They want two.
Oh, because
Two
I
shelf-
was wondering.
Two shelf, well,
But
they can't.
wouldn't
also-
one be as, that's what I was just wondering.
And then all the emergency personnel and the fire departments will stand up about how invaluable their services are when needed as law enforcement
Yeah, 'cause
or
that's-
safety.
Right.
They
Not-
do step in, like Christie and Terry have said, in a law enforcement capacity
Oh,
when
yeah,
needed,
the-
which is helpful.
Right.
Maybe we should give them a different title, because you feel like they're have a very localized responsibilities.
I've seen them sitting out there looking like they're maybe doing a speed trap, but they're not, because they can't, or they can't chase somebody down the road.
They,
but-
they can
Yeah, they can.
stop somebody for speeding,
Yeah.
yes.
Right, but
I've
they
been
can't, they
stopped.
can't pursue me if I keep going.
I'm not gonna test them.
I don't know what their pursuit policy is.
Okay, fine.
Maybe
I-
not at high speed,
Right.
high speed pursuit, but I don't think you're gonna be doing that.
Never mind, I didn't say it. Yes,
I
they're
do
they're
think they
doing,
can
they're
pursue
doing
you,
law
but-
enforcement duties as well. So I guess this is not the time to bring up that a few years back, we wanted to have extra people in the summertime to do
They're
speed
not-
control.
they're
We
not
can't get
doing
them.
that.
No.
They- Like
Right.
No,
Terry
but
said,
they-
they can't find enough people to
They
work the
can't find
regular
enough
shift.
people.
But they have our regular deputies doing some speed
Right,
details. So
Right.
it's not that we lost it completely, you just can't have specialized details.
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, which we had thought about adding. In fact, we budgeted for it, but we couldn't get it a few years ago.
But they do show a lot of speed detail, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And we haven't been getting as many complaints, no.
You had to
We
do
just,
it.
I just gave up.
You should know
I
better,
gave up
Christie.
complaining.
No, because they're out there, so people should not be doing that.
Okay, so,
A lot of money.
and the boat is not being used in the winter. Is that correct?
It is if needed.
It's available
It's available.
at the Bailey Island Fire Department.
Okay. And this is the airboat we're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But they don't generally go out in it.
Right.
And as I recall, when you
Can be
said
used on ice, but,
we needed two, because they cannot go out in the boat alone.
correct.
Correct.
So we have to have two.
Mhm.
Okay. Any more questions on this one? We've probably beat it to death.
You think?
Good question.
We'll wait till next year. It's
Right.
all over.
Okay. Item 5300, social services.
And so there's the remaining question of Sweetser, the meeting that Linda had missed. The three that were here that day did say, go ahead and invite Sweetser. They could not make it in time for last week, which was good because we didn't get to this topic. But Linda didn't necessarily want them invited. So I have not reached out to them again, so maybe that this committee should discuss that. The bigger question that Christie and I have before, you put an entity through this is, Dave has asked the bigger question, which we can certainly make sure that the select board is aware of that. But by way of history, I would like to remind, and probably Jane and Linda recall this, is when all municipalities, and I shouldn't be so general and say all, but when a lot of municipalities started budget cutting, they cut social services. This committee had a great deliberation on that and said, while it may just be small, this committee wanted to maintain status quo with those that were receiving funding from the town of Harpswell. And at that time, the decision was made not to entertain new applicants. It was also a decision made not to increase the current ones, but over the last couple of years, this committee has increased some of the individual ones. So I'm not saying this has been written in stone, I'm just providing the history. And so if that history still exists, because there was a couple of new ones that came in late last year, I brought it to the committee, and the committee had said, not interested. And so prior to reaching back out to Sweetser, wanted to just provide that history, have this committee discuss whether you want to entertain new ones, and if so, I'm happy to have them come. But if they're going to come and this committee says, no new ones, it's an insult to invite them. And so would like you to discuss that factor. And then I want to make sure this committee knows every year that every application, I have not copied every application for the committees here. We do this summary spreadsheet, whether it's seen to be useful or not. It's supposed to try to give the committee members a sense of, out of the total population for each entity of who is served, how much of that total population is Harpswell residents, how much the cost for each person served based on the full amount, what does that represent? And then if you want to, you can look at the pro rata number to try to, determine whether that's what you call useful or not. And all their full applications are available for review. And that's it.
Okay.
Just wanted to provide that introduction.
I'll throw this out. I did listen to the meeting where you all were discussing Sweetser, and what I heard is maybe have them come for 10 minutes, and I thought, oh my goodness, you're going to have the person come all the way here to speak to us for 10 minutes. One question I had about Sweetser, we've never had them before, is are they suddenly going out to all the towns and asking for money? I don't know, and Terry didn't know that either, because they've never come to us before. Right.
That's a very large organization.
It is a very
It's
extremely large.
different
different.
than the rest of these. It's
Right.
not as,
They
It's
must,
not good or bad, it's just
right.
no, it's
different.
not, but it sort of feels like it's different from what we've sort of gone for. And it's sort of, would more people, more organizations of that size now would start knocking on doors? I don't know. It's like a slippery slope.
okay, you need to speak into your mic.
And just so you all know, just in follow-up of that, when you look at that spreadsheet, when you say we haven't really entertained those before, we broke we decided on $1 million. So these entities are distinguished with a 1 or a 2, budgets of less than $1 million or over than $1 million. We have multiple over $1 million budget entities. Just based on the judgment of the
Right.
million is
Right.
all I'm reacting
Right.
to. I don't know how
Right.
much
Yeah.
greater they are than some of these others, but.
I Googled them, and this was a while ago, but I think my recollection, which is dangerous, substantially larger than that.
Yes.
Like very large,
And I did too.
different category. But can I just
Absolutely,
say a
go.
couple of words and stop me if I'm going down the wrong track? When I scrunch my forehead on this page, it's because my intuition tells me that this page in some way should have an operational ownership as opposed to just a budget committee ownership. Meaning, this should be, the way I look at my charitable giving is it's a portfolio. And that portfolio emphasizes not names, but the characteristics of the things that are important to me. And in this case, it would be the things that are important to Harpswell. And I don't think this forum is a particularly effective way to do that. So if I had my wish list, and I'm not going to push this any further than just throwing it out, I'd love to have somebody from the town come to us every year and say, here's the list, here are the amounts, here's why we think these make a lot of sense to us, and be a sort of a point of contact. Now, I don't want to get carried away with that, because it's not a huge budget item, but it's an important budget item. And it's one that we're seeing that in the aggregates, if I got the numbers right here, it's going up about 26% this year, which is that's a
Yeah, we don't have that column
See,
here.
that's
no, but it's
including the
20, it's
2,500.
26%.
Right.
It's a very generous, extremely generous increase. So that is sort of part of the reckoning, and
It's a hard, I hear what you're saying.
hard.
I
It's
hear-
hard.
Well, how would you, I view us as a microcosm of the town, and otherwise you have a committee, another committee deciding what the town
Yes.
would want to support as
Well, I wouldn't-
charitable donations.
I'm not a big committee fan, but I would, and again, my druthers, like it is in my personal portfolio, I'm the person who makes the recommendations to the staff in my house. So,
And I'm the one who writes the checks in my.
yeah, I'd like to have there be somebody who says to us, these represent the appropriate priorities for the town within the context of all of the charitable services that the town could participate in, not just a legacy. I understand the legacy, and I don't have any disagreement.
Right.
The legacy is what it is. But 50 years from now, this list going to be exactly the same if we continue the legacy
I was gonna
behavior.
say-
How about
I
a
was-
subcommittee of the budget committee?
Oh, my
that
God.
wants to do this?
Can I just make one comment?
Yes.
The difference between, and I totally appreciate your example, Dave, the difference between you directing your household is the obvious ones, the amount of households in Harpswell. What's important to me is not going to be important, may not be important to Christie. And so we're trying to cover so many more people. The 3 people served for Independence Association, those families, that's going to be their number one priority. They're going to be the ones that go to the selectmen and say, Independence Association. So not to minimize how important your charitable giving is, but it's so much more difficult to prioritize what is more important for everyone all around when it can be so individualized. I personally struggle with what you just said about that because
Yeah.
I know some of these entities very close because of my own family. You may not, and others, and so I just want to throw that out.
Right.
When I look at this, there are a lot of them, I feel a lot of warm feelings toward because I'm aware of people that have used them and everything, and they're familiar to me because I've heard from, or maybe they've sent me a donation request. But then, one comes along and I don't have any knowledge of anything that they've done, and so.
I just wonder,
I-
I don't know that we're, my own feeling is that we collectively being us,
Are the right people.
we do not make informed decisions with respect to this $50,000 and the allocation. It's not ignorant, these are all, I think, pretty good organizations, but we spend, how much time do we spend collectively on this each year?
Oh, my God, you,
We used to have them all
Excluding-
come.
they all
Linda.
came.
They all
Oh, we used to spend so much time.
Time.
It was
Cut it
one,
down.
it was,
Yeah.
Linda recalls, it was one of the longest meetings we ever had,
Really?
but yet it was one of the, probably the
It was-
only
oh.
meeting when you left, you felt so good about
what you were doing.
Harpswell and
Yeah.
what you were doing. Remember those
Yeah, I
procedures?
view it as, we're not making or breaking their budget. with
No.
This, but we're showing that we support what they do, and that they affect someone in this town, and more people than others.
And they clearly do, yes.
Besides Sweetser here, we also have People Plus
that increased 5,000.
with a huge increase.
Big
Yeah.
number.
And we know that People Plus, in concert with Harpswell Aging at Home, is doing a lot. They're the ones that provide the rides
Yes, that's right.
for people who can't drive anymore.
Right.
If you look at 2023, we were at about the $25,000 level. Then in 2024, there was a $5,000 increase to People Plus and a $4,000 increase to Harpswell Aging at Home.
Right.
So
Those
that kind of
things-
pushed us up, and we've been staying there, fairly, 24, 25, the same, and now you got an additional request from People Plus, and you get this new request from Sweetser,
And,
And all of a sudden, Dave, that number is growing.
Yes,
But it-
26. I mean, if I look at it from 22 to 26, that number's grown at a compound annual rate of 17%.
Yeah,
Preferable to see it here than
Yeah.
maybe in some other places, but
And they're
it's
relatively,
a pretty rapid
but they're relatively
escalation.
small numbers, too, in the scheme of an $8 million budget.
If we said that about every small number in here, we would not be doing our job
Yeah.
very well.
But I'm just talking collectively about the town's
You're
contribution
absolutely
to
correct.
social services. I
Right.
meant that as a
And
collective
I would be more,
statement.
I would be more generous than a 5% annual increase, but I think 26, I mean, this isn't the deliberation, so
Yeah.
I'll say
Right.
that. It's just this is a big number.
right, and I recall when I listened to the meeting that I missed, I think you asked, do we ever look at this? I do recall, and I don't remember which year it was, it goes back a ways, that, where we just saw it, we requested that Midcoast Hunger Prevention be allocated more money because we were concerned about
hunger.
hunger in the area. I don't remember what year it was.
Well, it's gone down. In 2021, we gave them 10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe that was the year, but it seems like it was before that, because I kind of remember who was on the committee then. But it was something we looked at and said,
Yeah.
this organization does a lot, and maybe they need more. So we suggested that more was put into that.
But even People Plus has gone up a lot since '22, so I mean, I assume that that's from.
It's gone up a lot, yes.
A lot.
Maybe the
So-
help, the participation with HA, I don't know.
I mean, let me, and I promise I will desist after this comment, but
I have the duct tape
if
ready.
this is the right list of organizations, and we say, hey, we're fortunate in this town for a lot of the blessings that we have, we should increase this budget by, not the 5% that seems to be the standard, but by 10%. Why wouldn't we just increase everyone by 10%, since we have the right portfolio here today?
'Cause I think this is viewed as a token contribution to most organizations. That may not apply to all, but to many of them, they say that it gives them leverage to get more grant money when they can show that they have some public support. Especially these organizations that have $1 million plus budgets. I mean, this is, again, just a small contribution to show support. So it
Right.
does get back to this philosophical
100%
discussion.
with you.
Right, right.
And I guess our major question, when we got this from Sweetser, is not that it's not worthy, it's just, is it time to stop hearing from new organizations? Or are you
That's a
gonna be
tough one.
open to any
Right.
organization that provides certain social services to Harpswell residents? And
Right.
so,
Right.
at one point, the committee was really not entertaining new requests, and then you kind of got away from that, and so we're not sure what to do with it.
Right.
Can I just ask
Yeah.
a quick process question for my own sake?
Yeah.
Like, you brought up a good example earlier, Linda, about like the Midcoast Hunger Program. Like, if you guys looked at their 6,000, you were like, look, this seems to be a tough year, can you guys go, look, that just doesn't seem like enough, we want to recommend
Right,
10?
we could.
You can,
We
okay.
could, absolutely. I think we're,
I was just
Yeah, we're-
wondering how that
this
worked.
committee's
Thank you.
going the other direction.
I know, but I
yeah.
was just curious, that's
Right.
what,
Absolutely, we could say this is a tough year, and there's gonna be.
Yeah.
It,
thank you for that.
but it's a tough year for, well, yeah, it's a tough year,
Tough year.
Yeah, it is.
period, yeah. Okay, so, why don't we think about this? That's kicking the can down the road, but I don't think we're gonna resolve it right now.
I think that's good, but I think your decision not to hear from Sweetser is appropriate, given sort of where we
Yeah,
are.
We don't need to hear from, we need to just decide.
yeah, yeah. Okay. May we move on to account 6,000 cultural? And this is, we had done the libraries and Harpswell Historical, but there are several others in there.
And there's a couple of changes in this area, but as you go down through the list, I'll point them out.
Okay, so we've talked about Orr's Island, Cundy's Harbor Libraries, Curtis Library, Harpswell Historical, we heard from them last week. We have not heard from we have not discussed Pajebscott, which has a small increase. It's 20%, but it's monetarily small. Is that one that changes, Terry? Pajebscott? No, okay. Any questions on that one? Okay. The Memorial Fund for Harpswell, this is the flags on the veterans' gravestones and flags for Memorial Day, is that right?
And flags for all the cemeteries
All-
for Memorial Day, and the markers, if new markers are needed.
Including the ones owned by the towns. Right, that's, yes, thank you.
Library Hall is still their taxes.
Where are you?
Library Hall.
Oh, yes, but we just skipped over.
The, TV.
Harpswell,
Oh, TV. We need to talk,
Broadcasting,
yeah. They're not coming in.
they are the same.
Most communities of our size have a television station. I know you were
Not
talking
necessarily,
about
no. No, not
communication
necessarily.
generally. You had some kind of project.
Some towns just use YouTube TV, their own website, their own social media platforms. They have an employee who does any of the kind of broadcasting work.
But they're
So-
doing the government ones, but this one
Right,
also.
most towns are just doing government.
But this one also
But
does.
that is a public educational and government, a
This-
PEG
the-
station.
Doing school board.
Well, they do other community-type
And
programming.
other
Yeah.
community.
And does it get all of its funding from the town?
This one?
Yeah.
This is an appropriation from taxpayers. Now, we do get revenue. Our revenue source from Comcast is a certain percentage of, cable subscriptions. They're using the town's public rights of way to provide that service. And so, under federal law, we collect a certain percentage. And we put that in the general fund. And then community television submits its budget request, which you all have, and they show you their operational expenses for running their public educational and governmental station, which is not necessarily what all towns do.
And is it correct that the town owns the building over there?
Yes.
And while we're talking about it, I need to disclose that I'm on the board. It's so new to me that I forgot. I am on the board of the Harpswell Community Broadcasting. So I would not be voting on this. Okay. Okay, Bailey Island, unless there's more questions about the TV station. Okay. Bailey Island Library Hall, that is their taxes. They want to be nonprofit, but they do make profit by events and so forth. So to help them, we are paying their taxes. Because they can't be a nonprofit and therefore have their
They
tax.
pay out all their profits that can be.
Well,
Pardon?
they can't
Can't-
qualify for the
501c.
tax exempt status.
Right.
Property, they own the property. And because they're having so many events and generating their income that way, they're not eligible for a tax exemption.
They lost it originally because they weren't a library.
Oh, that's right.
So
Right.
they had a library exemption, and then it was made clear that they're a beautiful historic
Building, yeah.
building doing events, and that they're not a library, so they lost their library tax exempt status. And then
Did
they,
they reapply as some other 501c3 type organization?
But they make a profit because they have these events.
But if you're a nonprofit, all you have to do is make sure that within your fiscal year, those are paid out so that you make zero
Yeah, which they do when, I mean, they did.
Anyway, that's too much, too much detail.
It's a good
At this point. And
But I think they're not, well, they've got, I don't know, when they
Good
first came
question.
to us.
It's a good question.
The assessing department has determined, based on the information that's been provided to the town, that they do not qualify for a tax-exempt property tax break. So they've asked the town to now, this has been for a number of years, cover.
Because they're maintaining this building as a historic site, but they don't have, do they have historic status?
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
they do.
Okay.
And it costs
Yeah,
a fortune
it's
to replace the
a-
windows in the,
Okay. So that, anyway, that's what that expense is. Harpswell Neck Physical Education. Have we now paid out for their new tennis courts, which we have been holding some
Yeah.
money in reserve
Yeah.
for that?
Yes, I think it was 50,000.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
paid out, but this year's request is,
I gotta get there.
they asked for, well, when you get to it, you'll see how they broke it up, but they did ask for $3,000 to complete, or excuse me, now for operations for the new tennis and pickleball court expenses. So $2,000 for the summer camp program, $3,000 for new tennis, pickleball courts operating expenses, and $1,000 for capital expenses.
Oh, that's how they broke it out.
Look at the
So it is a 100% increase there.
so that'll be ongoing then, the tennis maintenance, I guess?
Good question.
And what, is that
Sounds like it's
repainting or
not
sweeping or what? Yeah.
Well, it may be, I mean, they do have to maintain the ground.
They have to maintain the courts, but they also, did you just say they were asking for?
Well, they have quite a bit of detail in their application. They
Right, I'm
say-
looking for that right
For the-
now.
Say here that they wanted
didn't
to
see
I don't think I
enough
looked
time
at
to get to
that.
And
Their
I did, but
application,
now I've
Matt points
forgotten.
out that that they need to finish their court beautification project in 2026. They plan to rent a porta-john, secure liability insurance, and maintain groundskeeping for the whole season, extending the use of the courts by private citizens, community partners, and for group activities such as pickleball clinics hosted by the town.
Oh, he breaks it down.
And then, do you foresee any changes in services that you offer? If the tennis pickleball programs are funded, we are exploring the idea of Henpe hosting a tennis and/or pickleball tournament in the community of 2020, for the community in 2026. And then about the capital request, they are requesting $1,000 in capital expenses to complete the beautification project at the tennis courts, specifically add shrubbery to bench area, enhancements to main entrance, and additional hardscaping around the perimeter.
Have the pickleball courts been built?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
They're there,
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
they're being
Okay.
used.
Okay,
And the town has had
that's what I,
pickleball programs over there
okay.
on the new courts.
Okay.
And have they stopped their fundraising activities?
Let's look at their budget. They might still. Other income.
Income listed.
Oh,
They have a-
income, let's see,
It
sales,
looks like they have a
t-shirts,
hefty fund balance.
camp
Oh,
tuitions,
it's restricted.
program fees, town of Harpswell,
Individual
They've
businesses.
taken down their fundraising sign that they used to have there.
But that was.
Well, that's an-
what-
That was for the
was
capital project.
Capital
Right.
campaign.
So I think that, I don't know the level of detail, they do have a line in there called individual and business donations that has $15,383 in it, and that's not under that's program donations, because they have a restricted capital campaign donation line there. So they actually have received much more for the program donations than the capital one, since they have brought that to a closure.
They have anything left in their capital fund?
They show that on their application too. It says, what is your fund balance at the end of your most recent year? total is 102,326. Unrestricted is 6,673, and restricted is 95,65260.
Is the restricted, is that for building the courts or no? Which they've done.
I'm scanning it quickly to refresh myself.
It's not capital.
Doesn't sound like it.
Put money restricted.
It's a lot of money.
When I read that, I thought that that was going to be ongoing, continued expense with the courts, but they sound like they're done except for enhancing the beautification.
That's what it sounds like.
And it's
We
not,
will have
not
some new.
apparent that there's no funds available in the organization to do that.
Just say that again?
Said more clearly. I don't think we can tell from the information we have that they don't have the money to do that themselves.
I think that's an
It's-
implication.
I don't understand what restricted is being used for.
We can ask that question.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe the
Why
real
it's
question is,
restricted.
why can't you do this yourself?
Yeah.
Why do you need this 6,000 or 3,000 extra?
they didn't used to have this kind of money. So if it's left over from that project,
That's a lot,
Do you think they might not have paid from home?
that's a lot of operating.
I think we will ask some questions.
I do imagine that these new courts, with the way they are, will require substantial maintaining to keep them in the condition they're on.
So that's an
Sweeping.
But that's,
interesting
but that's,
question.
right, it's the
Painting.
same
Are they
question, are they,
expecting the town to pick up that?
that as an
additional-
ongoing, or what exactly, what
that's
is the
what-
restricted, the intention for the restricted funds?
Yeah,
Sorry, we should have asked you this ahead of time.
that's all right, that's.
Okay, well, we're moving right along.
We're getting there.
Okay, so Harpswell Business Association did not
No.
request anything. The community fireworks, we
So
did.
that's a
They
change. I
changed.
did hand out that application. At the time when this book was prepared, 2 applications, 2 organizations I had not heard from, one being the Community Fireworks and one being the Harpswell Invasive Plant Partnership. The Community Fireworks, she did get the application in and requesting 3,000, and when I don't get an application, I put the prior year number,
So it's a round number of
so it's a round
3,000.
number of 3,000, and then Harpswell Invasive Plant Partnership, reserving the right to apply in the future, does not need to apply in 2026.
What is Maine Public, Public TV?
Oh, yes, I skipped that, sorry. No, we sort of skipped that. That is the TV,
Okay, that's like, yeah,
PBS.
TV, radio, Maine Public
Right,
is the name
right,
of the
right.
organization.
that's an organization experiencing some trauma.
Oh, boy,
No.
yes.
That's true. I mean, it makes you wonder that our
A question separate from this.
nominal figure will help.
We never, I don't recall ever seeing MLA requesting money. Is that not appropriate for them to do, or?
So the first, I don't know if you were on the committee, Dave, they came and
MLA
requested.
Little Maine Lobstermen?
Women's
Oh,
Association.
Yeah.
They had requested $10,000 for the legal case against the
Oh, yeah.
the whale issue, and so this committee recommended it, select board recommended it, and the town did pay that. And then we always reach out to the prior year entities, and they certainly didn't say, oh, if you're inviting us to, but we don't need that specific issue that was going on, and so we moved on.
For, it was a very specific
Yeah.
purpose.
Specific.
A legal
Which is
issue.
Got it.
one of
It's
the
sort of a
reasons it
case
was
by case.
supported, right.
Got it. So where do they get their funding? From?
Privately from, they're mostly membership dues and private donations.
Okay.
And it, oh, I'm not going to digress.
We've already digressed a lot today. We're staying till
I'm
7,
not a
right?
member, so.
No,
No.
no.
I just, okay. We are now done with item 3 on our, I think. Are we done with cultural? Okay.
Sort of.
All right, so we'll now go to consensus, and we have a long list.
Oh, yeah.
But they're pretty,
Most of these are very straightforward.
yes.
Yep.
Okay, so do we have enough people to give a thumbs up on this?
Yep.
The problem will be when we get to something that I missed. Okay. The first one is general government. Are we okay with that one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm putting a check by that. Elected officials,
Yes.
yes. Assessing was a
Yes.
yes. Sorry, I jumped the gun on that. Code enforcement,
Yes.
yes. Jane, you're okay?
Yes.
Jump in here if you're not.
This
The
is
tax
data
office.
equipment.
Okay.
Okay. Town clerk,
Yep.
town planner,
Yep.
okay. Committees and commissions,
Yep.
yep. You don't need to recuse yourself for that, I'm joking. Town office,
Well, I
this
don't- I
is
don't
the
think I get any.
facility, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm probably eligible for a stipend for the, one of them, but I never have asked for it, and I never will.
Oh, I think I know what you mean, yeah.
I thought you just got it, but okay,
You
never
do,
mind.
I just mail them.
Oh, you just mail them.
For
Okay.
this committee?
Not this.
Not this
For Board of
committee.
Appeals.
Oh, I think I gave that back last year or something.
Several committee
gonna do the
members
same
come
thing
back in
again.
and
Okay.
say, put this towards heating.
Okay. Make the room warmer.
Good idea.
Okay, town office, that's the facility itself. We're okay with that one?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
The emergency services buildings, and that will include work or design on the new fire station.
Yep.
Okay. The old townhouse. We're okay.
Yep.
Town landings. Okay. And Robin Hood, Cedar and Robin Hood Beach.
Yep.
Okay, this is where we get into the timeline. I wasn't here, but I did listen. Risk management,
That's an old one.
Yep.
okay. Employee benefits,
And just by reminder, that had an increase.
it did have an increase, but you already discussed that.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
changed.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I
Okay.
thought, okay.
And is that subject to further change based on the
It
study
may
that's
be.
ongoing?
It may
Okay.
be until it's, oh, you have,
Is there a hand up?
there's no hand up, but he has turned on video.
Total
if,
eclipse of the sun.
Yeah,
Oh, we're
he's gone
back,
again.
we're back to the
Oh, oh.
sailboat. Okay. All right, marine consultant, conservation. Oh, wait a minute, there's a thumb, oh, I'm seeing thumbs up. Isn't that
okay.
sweet?
Oh, is that what?
Thank you, Mackin.
Very nice.
Oh,
Okay.
good, that works, huh?
Oh, that's good.
Marine consultant, conservation,
Yep.
harbor master,
Yep.
okay. And animal control,
Yes.
yes. General assistance,
Yes.
yes. Health and wellness,
Yes.
yes. Recreation, including programs,
Yes.
okay. And Mitchell Field operations,
Yep.
yes. Okay,
Those were,
all right.
Wow.
Other
They did.
oh,
Wait.
other matters, including the minutes, which I forgot to read.
I remember it.
But I can vote on November 24th. Oh, that's the day I wasn't here.
I bet
Do you have to
did-
have been at the meeting to approve?
Well, are you talking about the December 1 meeting? It shows
I'm-
you present.
Well, there's
I'm
two
talking
sets of
about-
minutes.
there's-
Oh, I only
November
have
24th,
these.
Because we
Oh,
didn't
okay.
get
The
that
other one
far
was
last week.
handed
Oh.
in.
November
I see.
24th, I was absent.
We can
I
do
did
next
listen
meeting.
to the meeting.
Are we meeting on Thursday?
Where is the one for the 24th?
Just do it then.
You want to delay both
Yeah,
minutes
let's
until
delay
then?
both of them,
Okay.
because I,
Oh,
what happens with
I've read the-
Yeah, you're in good company. Unfortunately.
I remember saying to myself, I gotta review those minutes.
Oh, did I just keep changing? Consistency.
Did the administration have anything else you wanted to tell us about?
I get that when I'm in trouble.
No, I think it's just reminding you that we're meeting on a Thursday, this Thursday at 4
4
o'clock.
o'clock.
Yep.
And
Good to remind.
I believe, Mackin, you told me you could only be here for an hour on Thursday. Thumbs up with that?
He said, he
Yeah.
sent me
There
a
he
note
is.
that said,
Okay.
Look, he's going flying up the side, too.
beautiful.
Okay,
He's
so,
ecstatic.
so maybe things we need to do that would require Mackin's presence, we should do first on Thursday.
Other than, it would actually going to be likely, they're big topics. It's capital. That's all that's remaining that you, except for the fire departments and emergency services, which is next Monday, because everybody is planned to attend.
Yeah.
So all that's remaining is debt service and capital reserves, and so that would be this Thursday.
Well, that's important, too.
Absolutely. And
Absolutely. So we'll do what we can while we have Mackin here and go from there.
Because you did a lot of catch-up today, so I thought there might be more on there, but
I think
it's
we're
really the
probably gonna
focus on
have-
capital at that time.
Yep.
Yeah, but we're going to have a lot of consensus items, right?
But you also, yes, you'll have some
And we
consensus
may have some
items.
that need some discussion,
And there's some more discussion.
more
Yep.
discussion.
Yep.
Right. Okay, if that is it, we are adjourned.
Thank you, Madam
Thank
Chair.
you. Thank you.
You.